Are the Stanley cups that resellers are selling and everyone is going crazy over safe for you and your kids to drink out of? Yeah, welcome back into the channel, Rockstars. Thanks for joining me here on Thursday afternoon, January the 18th. There's a huge story and a TikTok viral video that has millions and millions of views. I'm going to sit closer to the side of the screen so that I can screenshot all this for you up here in the corner, that is stating that the Stanley cups, the wildly popular, crazed Stanley tumbler cups, are full of lead or contain lead that can be dangerous for you or even your children to drink out of. And this lady actually bought or got somehow a lead testing kit, and she tested her Stanley cups and they came back positive. Now, this isn't new. I actually looked this up. I did some Googling and some old TikTok searching and Instagram searching, and people have been claiming this for well over 2 years, actually. These things just became viral and wildly popular, but there was a lot of people that have had Stanley cups for a while. That company's been in business for over 100 years. Now, the thing is, Stanley actually put out a notice, and the Dot covered this. On the bottom of the cup, again, I'll put a screenshot in the corner. On the bottom of the cup is like the little logo looking thing, and it's a sealed piece on there, and they admit that they use a solder that is or contains some level of lead, and that it's been approved by the government and that it is safe for their products, and that they have passed all the safety testing that is necessary. Here's the thing, every tumbler cup, or at least the majority of the tumbler cups, have this piece underneath of them, or some form of this, if they have it, that is using solder that contains lead. Almost all of them. It is on the outside of the cup, on the bottom. If that piece was to come off because of damage, like if you banged it or crowbarred it off or whatever, then yes, you would be exposed to that solder point, that joint, which again, I'm throwing pictures up the entire time, you can follow along. And you should throw that cup away because that is some level of lead. Now, is that level of lead going to kill you if you're exposed to it? No. If you keep the cup around, not a good idea. However, people are saying, oh yeah, it's on the bottom, but what about the inside of the cup? Well, people did some testing and there was no lead on the inside of the cup where you drink your water, but other people are skeptical and they think that it is seeping up through the bottom of the cup into the Stanley tumbler where, of course, your drink is at and your water or whatever. I highly, highly doubt that the U.S. government, even though I am the biggest skeptic of the U.S. government, and I believe the government lies to all of us. They've lied to us relentlessly over the last decade, 2, 3 decades, hundreds of years. I doubt that they would allow the people at the Stanley Cup Company to put lead on the bottom of their cup that would seep through the cup into the liquid that you are drinking from. Also, don't forget, this company has been in business for over 100 years. They have loyal customers. And everything that I could find, and I couldn't find anything on it, to be honest, there is nobody that's gone to the hospital or died from lead poisoning who was a Stanley Cup customer or a loyal drinker of their cups. You would imagine that if in 100 and some odd years of being in business, what is it, like 1914 they've been in business, so like 110 years, that the loyal customers to the Stanley Cup company would be dead. They'd have lead poisoning. There would be tons of cases. This would be viral as these videos are. It would have came out a long time before now that these cups were not safe for you to drink out of. This brings up a good point for my reselling crowd, for those of you that bought some in the hype and sold them on eBay or Poshmark or wherever. Liability. This lady was asking for Stanley Cup to recall the cups and for people to throw them away, and that there's liability. So as a reseller, if you sell a product that already has a recall on it and it's dangerous and it causes an injury or a death or something along those lines, you can absolutely be held liable for selling that product. This is why you should have business insurance. It's as cheap as like $30, $40 a month. You can get $1 million general liability policy. I believe Kate's photography business that added an extra $50,000 to protect her camera equipment. So she has $1 million liability. and 50,000 additional personal property. So like if her camera falls and she breaks a $10,000 camera, they'll pay for it. It's like $54 a month, $55 a month, something like that. My general liability, just $1 million reselling insurance premium is $49 a month. So you can get it as cheap. I've seen it like 40 bucks. So it's worth it to take a look at it. Definitely something worth investing in. If you need insurance, you can go to Ashlyn Haddon, Hadden, Ashlyn Haddon Insurance, and tell her that Rockstarflipper sent you. That'd be awesome. She can help you get set up, give you quotes. I'll link her down below. Also, and that's not a paid sponsorship. Ashlyn's just a friend, and she does great insurance, so she doesn't pay me for that. So you're welcome, Ashlyn. But that's a great question that people ask about liability, about selling things. There's actually a court case. I want to say it's in New Jersey, maybe New York, somewhere up in the northeast, that Amazon is being sued. I did a video about this. They sold a third party on their platform sold a dog leash, one of those retractable leashes. We actually have one of those. It scares me every time now. And the leash snapped, the retractable leash snapped, and it flung up the metal end, you know, where you hook your dog up, flung up, hit the lady in the eye, and actually damaged her eye so badly she lost her eye. She has a glass eye now. And she lost vision in that left or right eye. And she, of course, immediately wanted to go after the third-party seller, but they were in China. They were impossible to get a hold of. They disappeared after they were notified. And she then sued Amazon for allowing it. And Amazon is fighting that in court. It's going to go to trial, actually, because she's suing them for like $75 million. Whether or not a platform can be liable for a recalled product that was allowed to be sold, or for a faulty product that's allowed to be sold on their platform. So if a product has a recall active, most of the platforms will block that item from being listed. I know eBay does. Amazon is pretty good about it too. But if we're talking about a third-party product like a retractable leash, which is allowed to be sold, 100% sold, but it's just made with really crappy quality in a third world country, and they sell it and it breaks, who's responsible? Is the seller responsible, or is the platform responsible? Well, we're going to find out if both of them are responsible when this case happens. I'll do a video on it. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss when that video pops up. But that's a great question from these Stanley cups. If you sold Stanley cups and you made money, and later on it was found that they did have lead that was hurting people and they recalled them, could you be held liable? If you sold them before a recall when they were safe to sell, generally speaking, no. That would not hold up in a court of law, although somebody could sue you and you may have to defend yourself. Typically not, though. Typically that wouldn't happen. If there was some notice of an issue or an upcoming recall or a recall, and you continued to sell it or somehow, you know, flipped it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, you absolutely could be sued, and that's where having insurance would be very helpful. So, great questions. A lot of you asked that in messages and comments and concerns. People sent me those videos. Big shout out to Katie Reeds for sending that link to that TikTok viral video. Well, I'll link it below. And I hope she does a video about it. If she does, I'll link that out to you guys. But she brought that to my attention, and people were going crazy, and we're talking about those Stanley cups. My partner in my listing service actually sold one of them on eBay, so hopefully he's good to go. Yeah, so that's liability. That's recalls, and Stanley cups are safe for you as far as I'm concerned. I would drink out of them. Drink out of all my other tumblers every day. So hopefully everybody's good and nobody dies of lead poisoning. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, or stories you want me to cover, please put them down in the comments section. It means a lot to me, guys. Hit that like button, helps the YouTube algorithm, turns the thumb nice and blue. It's right there under the video, and it just takes a second. And like I said, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. I'll update this if anything happens. I'll update the Amazon court case. I'll update all that stuff. And as always, from normally sunny Florida, it's really rainy outside today. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful Thursday, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.